Hello. Feel free to drop in and say hello. I'll get started in just a couple minutes. Oh, David, I'm glad you liked it. Oh my God, I'm such a super fan of Plovdiv, especially in the springtime. It's crazy. Yeah, it's really nice. I love it. Hey, Deb, super happy to see you. Hey, Rhoda, glad to see you guys. I am like gonna get into it because I'm running out of steam doing the nighttime streams. Has been a little bit challenging, just to kind of keep up the energy and everything. And I've been kind of every day like racing to get things done. But I might have to do 3 streams a week just for a little bit because I'm trying to also update my website, and so it's a lot. So I'm curious, David, how is everything out in oh my God, New Mexico? You have to tell me if it's nice out there. Here the temperature's dropped and it's really cold. It's like 3 degrees, 0 degrees Celsius. Um, and one thing though that I noticed, if I don't, hey, gotta leave, super happy to see you. One thing that I noticed is that if I don't go out of my way to make a nice walk, like my mental health goes down really fast in winter if I'm like inside all the time. Cold, the wicked wind chill, but sunny. Oh, well, sunny is nice anyway. That's good. Here the sun has not, I mean, it's pretty status quo for winter, but here the sun has not come out for it's been over a week now, so it's crazy. -2, yeah. I think gotta leave. You probably got about the same weather that I do. I think um, it might actually do a little snow tonight, which I think would be cool. Anyway, yeah, so super happy to see you. I'm staying, like David said, I'm staying in Plovdiv, Bulgaria, and it's really cool. Really nice in springtime. I always recommend that. But so much history, so cool. I just think it's a great town to visit. And then also, if you're coming from the US, it's super affordable, or also Europe, really affordable. A lot of like dining out will kind of be maybe half price or something, so that's a real treat. Oh, let me just pop in and see my oh, hey, Jasmine from Montana. Yeah, I think a lot of people are cold. Everybody's cold today. So, what I was going to do is I kind of had an idea. I wanted to do like a monotone kind of pattern, and I'm still kind of fleshing this out. But I kind of want to show you like a couple little tricks that I was doing. And I like doing something a little bit layered, a little bit extra. I mean, I tend to be maximalist, but the one thing that's kind of the saving grace is that if you're doing something that's kind of extra and maximalist, then doing it in a monotone is kind of good. So the color palettes that I used was actually from my Sapphire, from the Celestial Gold Mine layer styles, and I used some gold from that. But what I also did is I didn't want to draw anything. So I got some free stock from Adobe. And so definitely don't sleep on that. That's definitely a solid thing to do. So I'm going to show you. So I went to Adobe's website, and I'm just like I said, I'm super impressed of their free stock selection. So that's really great. Um, yeah, Rhoda, thank you. I'm like, thank you for acknowledging me, Rhoda. I think I set my bar a little bit too high, but yeah, I'm doing the content. I'm like making new brushes, doing ideas, doing things, and I'm also trying to streamline my processes. I'm like, oh, bless you guys, making me feel good and everything. But I really like creating content, you know what I mean? But I do have to take that time a little bit also to update my website so I get more customers and I can keep doing this. So it's like a vicious cycle. But really, all I want to do is creating, and I really love that. And honestly, doing the live streams and has been a real highlight for me. And it pushes me, and so and then it gives, like, I can have more ideas for you guys, and you might not do them exactly, it might not work into your workflow, but hopefully it'll spark some, something that you might be able to use in your own stuff. um yeah, I think it'll be fun. So I just typed in flower vector, And I found this, and it's free by Murfin. So I licensed it, saved it to my library, and then I just opened it up in Illustrator. And now I'm going to show you kind of some of the things that I do with this to kind of incorporate the stock into our work and make something fresh and new, you know, because you don't have to use all of it or whatever. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Mm. Have some lovely water here. So yeah, this was the wildflowers. And one thing though, whenever you're getting stock, I knew that I wanted to use this head here, but one thing that whenever you're head of the flower, whenever you're using stock, you never know how they set it up, you know, because it could have like white spaces in it, how they vectorize it. It might not be like a one color. So I'm going to kind of show you how I deal with that. So I'm just going to cut this. I'm just going to select this and then work mostly in Photoshop because that's where I'm more comfortable. So I'm just going to paste this, and I'll go ahead and paste it as a smart object so that I can make sure that it's how I, you know, like the size that I want. And here I put 100, but honestly I could put a little bit more if I, you know, I could do it like this. So I'm just going to go ahead, and when I'm happy with the size, I'll hit return and do that. And I'll just duplicate that layer and save that kind of as a backup. And then what I'm going to do is, did I rasterize it? Yeah. I'll just right click and then rasterize that layer. And the thing is that right now, what I want to do is turn it into a brush or use the artwork. But right now, if I click like a color overlay, it's actually not a one color rasterized artwork and everything. And that color isn't even actually black in there. So what I'm going to do is, what did I do to start with? So, what was I going to do here? Take this thing. I think I will get my, and I know I'm not going to use anything down here, so I'm not worried that it's cut off, but I'll get my magic wand tool, and I have my tolerance up like 32. And I know that that's going to be fine. And I turned off contiguous, and then I'll just select inside here in one of these, you know, negative space areas, because I know that that's actually filled in. And so I'm going to hit Command X to cut that. Now if I put a black overlay over it, now I can see that that is real black, and that like if I put a color in my background like this, you know, you're not going to have it looking like this. And now I could just cut this out and use them as I please. Or if I know that maybe it's something that I want to do before or use them again, I could make a brush out of it. And the first thing that I want to do if I'm going to make a stamp brush with these is I'm going to want to make sure it's in black. So as you can see, I put a black color overlay, because if you look there, it's not actually black. So you definitely want it to be black, so it's going to be like full opacity. And now I'm going to make my brushes from this. So I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit. And I'm going to get my lasso tool. And so the cool thing is I could just use my lasso tool and select what I want to be the brush like this. And I don't have to cut it, put it on its own layer, anything like this. So I could hit Command K, and I'll just put flower 1 and do the same thing for the other heads of the flower things. So I'm just going to cut off. I don't want to get the stem, so I'm just going to get the top part, and I'll hit Command K, click OK. Same thing for here. Command K, okay. And then I made one out of these leaves, but finally I didn't use those leaves in it, so that's fine. And then I also did the same thing with, for the background, I choose something from here. So I'm going to cut that I'm gonna paste that in my Photoshop, make a new layer, paste. I'll go Smart Object, and let's zoom out and kind of make sure that it's maybe this, enough of the size that I want. And I know that I'm just going to select like this sort of bit right here. I think it will be nice. So I'm going to kind of like enlarge it until I'm happy. I'll click OK. And we're going to use this like for some layering. So I was happy how it turned out, because sometimes that's why I try to like flesh out things before I go online, because sometimes they don't turn out so good, and then I'm like, oh. Earlier I was kind of working on something and it didn't look so good, and that's why I'm like, I'm not going to be online at 6 o'clock. I'm like, I gotta make sure I do something that looks semi-decent. Let's see here. So now that I have that Smart Object pasted, I'm just gonna rasterize it. Rasterize layer. And I think I will, oh yeah, I got to cut out that middle part. So let's just use our magic wand tool and hit cut. Now I'll put a black overlay, and now we've got a proper, thing. So I'm going to just get as much as I want like this and hit Command K and click OK. So that's our brushes. And those are just going to be a great starting point for us, and to just like hack it a little bit, that we don't have to draw everything ourselves. So I think that's nice. And let's see here. So I'm going to do window arrange, 2 up vertical, and not 3 up. Okay. So just to give you guys like a brief little rundown of what brushes I used. Didn't use that many actually. So you might spot my the artwork pasted in here, the gold parts. I used my Celestial Goldmine layer styles for those, the gold ones. And then in the background, I've got just subtly the other flowers. And these nice little brush strokes are from the Glitch Core. I think it's brush number 5, and I really kind of like that. And then I also have, I use marble brushes since I had just released those. So I kind of was playing with those, and they can be quite versatile. So I use the marble brushes. I use the sapphire color blends from my Jewel and Gemstone Brush Studio. And I think I kind of stuck to like mainly one. I think I stuck to like color palette 7, or maybe it was like one of the more subtle ones, and maybe not 7, maybe it was like 14 or 19, but kind of kept it all in the same tone, so that was nice. And what else did I use? I did use on the background one of my sapphire layer styles, so everything is in sapphire. But that makes it cool, and we can kind of go maximalist on it. But one thing I will like to show you guys, and I'm still kind of trying to have the editing eye, but I did a few different things. Like I like how this is progressing, and I'm pretty happy with it, but I would like to get your opinion on it. So I thought, I mean, I could stop here, but I still kind of think I might add some things. This obviously isn't the finished bit, but I'm kind of curious about what you think about bringing in some of like a botanical stroke like this. So this is from my, gosh, what is it? The Spring Botanicals or something like that. But I thought about bringing in those kind of things over my leaf, or in the light or the dark, or adding them, sorry, not that one. No, adding them like here. But I just don't know if that's like too much. So feel free to chime in if you have any opinions on adding those into there. So that was here. But yeah, like for me, it's just, sometimes I like to get some feedback or see what you guys think. So I was playing with that, but I just don't know if it made it too, if it kind of diminished those leaves. That's why here I kind of liked it a little maybe better than the dark ones. But yeah, so that one I was undecided about. So, and if you're watching this afterwards too, you can chime in and kind of give your opinion on those. So I would be curious to know. And then also, the light edition, it brings out, okay, so do you like the ones like this outside of the leaves or perhaps over it? Diminishing the opacity. Ooh, that might be a good, it might be a good thing because I think kind of where this is like, where this kind of design is having more success is the transparency, like layering the transparency of it. So, yeah, so I'm kind of curious. The light, yeah. So I'm kind of leaning towards here, kind of filling in some of the spaces. But yeah, just feel free to give your opinions. And then there's that one that's over the leaves. But yeah, maybe if even if I did that, it might be good to have like a lower opacity. That's something interesting. Um, okay, smaller leaves on the larger leaves like Rhoda. Okay. So that's something to think about right there. So I'm just gonna like leave that there for now. And also another thing I was playing with is that, so I just have a little bit of marble in the background and I put a sapphire layer style on it. Just that kind of adds a little bit of depth. But one thing that you could do is do a totally different colorway, but I kind of think I'm sticking with the, I mean, obviously, like, you know, if you're doing this yourself, you could do it, whatever, but I think I'm sticking with the monotone. So this is some marble in the background, which I could also play with the opacity, maybe take it down just a little bit. But the last thing that I was kind of playing with is adding a little bit of gold in the background. So personally, here is some like kind of fluffy gold. I used one of the marble brushes. It was one of the first ones, like 3 that's kind of a little bit wet, and I used a gold. So I've got that, or I've got a little bit of the kind of a spidery gold in the background. So that's something that I was playing with, although that might be just a little bit too much. So I think that that's kind of, yeah, I was playing around with the idea of some gold in the background, but anyway, we'll see how it goes. And I'm going to just kind of show you how I put this together really fast. But, you know, like I said before, it's so hard sometimes for me to have an editing eye, and I just keep layering, layering, layering. And I'm like, Jessica, you know, have some white space. But obviously, like, I'm not making this into a repeating pattern, but you could if you are doing this for maybe branchy, more dendritic gold in the background. Yeah, I want something like just the touches of it and delicate. Like, um, I think that that is interesting, but I feel like it's a bit too dense. I kind of just want something very light in the background of the gold. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. And then one thing that I did love that I did do, without the vine. However, I was just needing that vine for a project. Okay, thanks, Jasmine. Like, appreciate that. And glad you like the vine. Definitely, those are the spring botanicals. One thing though that I did like that I did is I used the Feather Couture 1 brush over this like sort of bulb of the flower, and I'm really happy with that. And I still think what I would like to do is put something over, like something soft over the top to kind of also just hide some things, like what I was thinking would be like a really like over the top. That's not big enough, but like kind of just like a soft, something soft, like, I don't know, on top of everything to hide some things, but that's too much anyway. But yeah, you guys can, and also even if you're a member, down, I'll upload this file after the live stream, processes. But if you want to like remix it and share like your version, feel free. I will love it. So I'm just gonna like, what am I doing here? Okay. So I kind of just want to explain that to you, but it's just all about adding in layers and then not getting too confused. So kind of keeping them in groups. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and copy my starting points was my gold flower heads. So I'm just gonna copy those, or I guess I could just redraw them. Although I don't think I'm gonna fill out the whole thing. Okay. So here we got like, I just made my artboard 2000 by 2000. So what I'm gonna do is take one of my brushes that I made, like flower one here, and just drop it in there. And then I'm not messing, like here if I'm releasing these to you, I'll put the jitter on so you can actually see it. But if I'm just doing it for a project, I'll just go like this, just leave the brush as it is, saving time, and then just I'll free transform it or whatever. The fluffy gold looks great. Okay, thank you, Jasmine. Glad. I love to hear the, what do you call it? I love to get your guys' opinions. So I just stamped that and I'll put like gold 17. I have I have just some a few golds from my Celestial Gold Mine gold, styles, and so I just keep them over there, but I could go, there's tons of more gold styles. So I'll just put these each on their own layer. And so I did the flower one, and I'm going to make this flower a little bit bigger here. And of course we can hit Command T to free transform it. So, you can, for the love, you can kind of get a little bit of flow there, what have you. And then let's see here, make a new layer. I don't know if I put 4 on there, but anyway, I'm going to try to do this like really quick. So we'll go gold 17. There we go. Just, but if you were doing this for like making a seamless pattern, you could like keep everything in the inside, I have a video on making a seamless pattern, and probably if you do them, you already know how, but keep all your stuff in the center, and then you use your offset filter to offset it like 1000 by 1000, and then you can check the edges and everything. But I can't be bothered at this point in my time. I'm going to go edit, transform, flip horizontal, and then just whatever. It's maybe not perfect compositionally, but whatevs. So we'll get the idea. So I'm going to save this because this is my live demo live. And let's see here. Jasmine, I'm glad you like that. That kind of, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is actually very fashion inspired. And it's funny because even if I'm doing something that's not directly fashion inspired, somehow it just kind of gets fashion inspired. So I think there's always that element of fashion, or I end up doing something fashion inspired in the end, So I think that's a high compliment for me. Mm. Okay, and then once we get these in, we'll add a few elements, and you'll see how things kind of will come together real fast. So you just kind of have to keep track of your layers and think of everything. Why is this? There's nothing on the layer. Okay. Just have to think of everything in levels, So I'm going to take all those 4 layers there, and I'm going to group them. And I'll just actually label my group. So I'm going to put heads. Well, I'll just put flowers. That sounds better. And then I'll make a layer underneath it, and I might just be lazy and just put them all in one layer. But if you were going to move things around, then don't do this. But I'm going to make those like leaves that are coming out of it. So these flowers give me some kind of starting point that I don't have to think about things, basically. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take my lasso tool and I'll just make some leaves going out of each one that kind of mimics the leaves and going off. So that's fine. So I'm going to take, oh goodness, we're going to take my pattern stamp tool and we're going to use the multicolor technique. The link's down below if you don't know it. And I'm going to just, I think I could just grab honestly a, really any brush because I'm going to kind of fill it in. I just grabbed an Artistic Autumn brush 23 because it's one of my faves. And I make sure that I get the edges so that you can feel that. And then I'll take the transparency down. And I grabbed the color palette 19, although I think maybe I'll use 14. It's nicer. But I'll leave this on its own layer. So like this, and then I'll take the opacity down a little bit and continue. So, and then this one, you can do like different shapes, but I just get real chill with this. And, oh, okay. So I'll just kind of fill those in and kind of create some movement. So I'll deselect, take that opacity down. And I think the thing that makes it look really pretty is putting those opacities down and then building up the layers. And the color of the background, so it's just deep blue actually, and so it's 001222. Oh, 222 angel numbers. I think I don't know how I just grabbed a blue, I don't know, but that was it. So just a deep blue because I wanted to keep it all monochrome. So let's just pop this up. The good thing though is that I try to flesh this out. Like some people do the live streams and they'll do them for 2 hours or, all that stuff. But I try to flesh it out beforehand so I can kind of give it to you guys condensed and that because maybe you don't want to hang out like for all day. So anyway, I'm like, sometime I might just get on spur of the moment and do some like long sort of form projects, but yeah, I definitely try to like know what I'm going to do beforehand because I find it just goes better. Okay, so let's take it down and make a new layer and doing my lasso tool. If you wanted to be more precise, you could draw these, but I love doing things super easily, the easy way. So I just use the lasso tool and just say that it's my style. So that's what I do. I'm like, my style is very imprecise and handmade and all that. But really it's because I don't have the patience, to be honest. So that's that. And then the next thing that I'm going to do to keep it real easy, so I'm just going to group those in a layer and put leaves. All right. And then make a new layer. And I'll just take, actually I can just take the same, I don't even need to change from a regular brush tool because I'm going to put a layer style over it. So what I'm going to do is put that background layer of these little flowers. And even if it's a different flower, I don't mind. So what I'm going to do is just stamp one. And I'm not going to worry that it's like looking, I'll take the, maybe I'll go ahead and take the opacity down. And then, let's see here. This is a good size. So I'm going to go ahead and let's just put it full opacity. I'm going to use one of my sapphire layer styles, and I'm sure I used probably this one, Sapphire 7, or maybe I did not. Hold on. I just want one that's pretty, 17 is good. Anyway, that's the color palette that I've used a lot. And you can't really see the crystal styles on something this thin, just so you know, but I'm just using it because I know it goes perfectly. And so I'm going to take that layer down, the opacity. So really you could just do it even in one color, but I'll put the layer style because it just, I know that it gives it a little bit of color variation. And I'll just kind of like fill in some of these areas in the background. And I'm not going to worry if it's perfect. So I've just, oh wait, there we go. So I'll just duplicate this. I'm not going to put too much time into it. I'm just going to duplicate it and kind of make up some of that space. Duplicate it again using my free transform tool. Could even make it a little bit bigger. Since it's kind of backgroundy, it's not a big deal. Normally, you know, they say like don't enlarge things, but it's okay. It's okay when it's in the background. I'm gonna edit, transform, flip horizontal because I want to make sure it's going a different way. So, and then also kind of want to make sure that I leave some blank spaces as well. You know, so we have a little negative area, which that's hard for me, but I gotta keep trying. Edit, transform, flip horizontal. Okay. Me, I'm just like, yeah, definitely got the maximalist sort of thing going on. And I'm gonna hit save, and then I'll just take all of those layers that I just made, group them, and this is the background. And now I'm gonna click the layer mask here because I'm gonna probably want to hide some of them that are behind the flowers. So I'm going to go over here to my paint bucket and I'll get my gradient tool, and I'm gonna have the sphere one radial, and go to your gradient editor at the top, and I want it to have foreground to transparent, and make sure that black is your foreground color. And so I'm just gonna like draw some of this, just make some radial gradients, which is black. So it's masking out some of those because I don't, sometimes I don't want it to like compete with some of the stuff here. So you can just kind of have a little fun with that. And so it's not all mono, you know. You can even do it around the edges a little bit so you can't see all of this stuff, so that it's, you know, you have some kind of like hierarchy of, you know, foreground, background, whatever. And then I'm going to go ahead and let's see here. Where is my little, okay, 5. So what I did is, I guess this is above that, I think, yeah. Yes, I believe so. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to throw in some of those in some of the negative spaces. I'm not changing my color palette. So pattern stamp tool, multicolor. We're going to go over to the glitch core, and I believe I use brush number 5, and that's that cool, I like cool glitch core brush. And I wonder if I put this on a, no, I left it at normal opacity. Okay, so I might just kind of, I'm barely touching it, but I just love adding some of those, some touches of that brush. I think that's the darkest color palette I have, yeah, because I kind of want it to be, so you can just play around with it. But I'm trying to use a light touch with my pressure sensitive pen so that it doesn't get too bright. And then of course you could always do the, what do you call it? You could always do, take down the opacity as well. So just kind of touching that and adding that in there. I kind of like it because it kind of gives it that feeling of almost like textile-y as well, and kind of a brocade or something like that. Oh. And oh, thank you, Jasmine. Love that. I'm all, yeah, I like when you got, I like the comments make it more fun for my live stream. It's, It's nice. Oh, and then what I did also was, first of all, I started to do the for behind this gold, I did a little like tip on each flower. So you kind of maybe might not be able to see that so much here, but I did do that. So I did some like floral petals behind it in a kind of a transparency, and then I did a little thing on top of it. So that's kind of something fun that makes them a bit cool. So I'm going to go behind the flower and above the leaves. So I'm going to make a new layer. And again, I'm using my lasso tool, and I just made like a fun sort of shape like this. And I might end up masking out some of this. I'm going to turn that off now so we can kind of focus on here. And we're using the multicolor thing. I'm just really staying in that color palette. And here's where I bust out my marble brushes. So I kind of, and it really, it just a touch of it. So it's just a little softness. You know, you could use that kind of any brush, but I'm doing the marble brushes. So I just added that, and I might add a new layer. And then maybe I'll add some, at the end of the marble brushes is more of the, gosh, the ones that's got the like more of the veins. And so I could even take a lighter color palette like 2 and add just a little bit of those kind of marble veins to it. And now I've kind of created an interesting sort of flower shape there. And even I might take the opacity down. So that's what I kind of just did. So I put some, and it just is alluding to a shape, and then once, or alluding to a flower, like this is the center part, and then you've just kind of got some interesting thing behind, and then we'll put that thing on the front, and it's really gonna like come together. So I will just make another layer and just do something goofy like this, and take some marble brush. I can use a different one each time. Usually do like one that's kind of, oh wait, I didn't. Let's just undo this. I'm going to use my 17 for the background of the leaves. So just take any brush, whatever. And I'll make like one that's kind of soft that fills in the leaves, and then select, reselect. And then I'll do one that's got like more of the, like using brush 25 that's, wait, that's not, maybe 24, 20, no, 22. Am I on this new level or new? Let's go with a lighter color palette. Kind of just add some of those marble sort of things in there. Could get a little bit bold, you know, whatever. So I just did that for each flower. And if it's too bright, you can just take the thing down. But it's just adding a soft, cool thing. So new layer, and we're gonna be like flying here. So just add 23, make a new layer. Let's grab, I keep forgetting what, 25? No. Oh, I keep, oh, that's fine. 17, 20, which one has all the little things? Oh, there it is. It's just not showing where I'm at. 22, 20. I want one that has, and I still don't know, like, have all of my marble brushes kind of memorized. Why are you being weird? Oh, because it's not, because I was thinking, I'm like, why isn't it painting over here? And it's because my little thing is actually over here. That's why I wanted to have those like little veins. 25, no. 26, no. 27, we'll do that. Okay, fine. That's why. Oh my gosh. So the leaves are kind of merging into the things here. They didn't really happen on this side, but anyway, it's okay. All right, make a new layer. Let's do one more. something like that. Let's do that first. Kind of add some of that, make a new layer underneath it, and then kind of add some softness. Deselect, save. That's getting pretty. I like it. I'm digging it. And what else were we gonna do? We got those. Oh, and then, okay, so above the flower, this is where I added the little piece de resistance, which I really like, is I added the Feather Couture Fantasies brush number 1. And I was just really like, and I'm going to take the color palette 19. And I just did, I'm taking the brush size up a bit, and I'm using a light pressure, and I just kind of, oh, maybe I should use 17. Color palette 17. Yeah. But I kind of just went over and hid some of that, hid some of the things, and I really liked how it turned out. You could maybe change up the color palette. I don't know. And also maybe not do them like kind of completely, but just maybe do like a little bit the sides here. So you're seeing different parts kind of shine through on different ones. So I think that's pretty, although those are a little bit too bright. I should use the, but there we're going to add that transparency, and then it's getting like quite pretty. But I think I'm going to, wait, I'm going to redo it because I'm not happy with using the light color palette. Oh wait, 14 maybe. Yeah, so you can just like, but it's kind of just fun. Okay. I just realized they're all kind of facing this way anyway. Okay. All right, we'll hit save. And good enough. You can kind of see it over here. And then you can put these back in there, but these I'm going to need to block out some of these. It's too much. So I'm going to add a layer mask. So I'm going to click that and then go back over to my gradient tool and make sure that black is done, and then kind of mask some of this out and give it some space because it's all getting too crazy anyway. But it always, yeah, so something like that. And then the main other thing though that I did was, I'm curious if I put them behind the flowers, was this 15 marble brush with a sapphire. And was it, okay, it's actually did it behind those flowers. Okay, so let's find those background flowers. And this is what I did to kind of also add some more. So just above my background, I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm getting my pattern stamp tool, though. Yeah, I'll just stay at the pattern stamp tool. I might add the layer style on it. And so I got, what was it? Marble 15 brush. So marble 15 brush, and I kind of added in some background there. Although I didn't leave myself a ton of negative space, but I just kind of, played around with that. You can find, sometimes like, okay, this one, I definitely, yeah, that's too much. Because you've got to give yourself that, you've still got to give yourself that negative space for sure. And have those kind of principles of design, and make sure you don't, go too far or whatever. But you need some like blacks, you need some of the negative space so that you can, oh, and I also take the opacity of this down. So I'll draw in, like I just drew like a little bit of, in some of the spaces there, I kind of added some, this is marble 15 brush, but I think it was more successful on the other side, but whatever. Oh, and I'll add the sapphire layer style. That's why I kind of made it a little bit better. I added sapphire 7 layer style, and so it just kind of, yeah, made it a bit, and I took the opacity down, so that was kind of cool. One little thing though that I did was to add, I feel like it needs a little bit of gold in the background to kind of bring the foreground and the background together. Now, one thing that I did do is for those background flowers, I made a layer above it, and I just went and I grabbed one of my gold play brushes, and let me find them. Gold play, gold play. Where is gold play? Where is gold play? There we are. Okay, so it's just like one of the little dotty brushes and it's already loaded with gold, so it was really convenient. Okay, so it's like number 18. And I just put like some drops of gold on like some of the where I could see the flower tip there. And I thought that was kind of nice. Like just adding a little bit of gold, but I definitely still think that there could be like some very delicate touches of gold in the background. I could just put them anywhere, just some little dots of gold wherever, just to, but generally I had put them where the flowers were and it kind of was working out good. And let's see here, back above this, I feel like I could just add a little delicate splashes of some kind of gold in the background. I could possibly play with the Renaissance brushes. I don't know if that would be crazy. Or I was just thinking something that's like, oh, that's really too much. Although this, if I actually took out away some of the, if I took away some of the stuff going on, these the Renaissance brushes could be an interesting thing for the background, to be honest, because they're like quite brocade style. So that's something interesting. That could be something interesting to like play with. Like, I feel like that's too much gold in the background, though. I feel like it needs to be super delicate. But those Renaissance brushes could be interesting to play with because they've got that botanical thing built in. Maybe just not with the gold, like a one color, like some blue or something. But so you could like layer them in. But I like that feeling of transparency and lots of layers. So that's interesting. Even there I could turn off, let's see, that's the background. That's those. And there's my marble. Where's my marble? Where are my marbles? I could, play with that brush even in some of the negative spaces. That's kind of interesting. It's like painting a brocade on there. Filling in some of those spaces. That's kind of interesting. Which it kind of was kind of what I was feeling with the oh, the other flowers. I'm kind of liking that. What do you guys think? I'm curious. Kind of digging that. It's different. Just using that. I'm liking this. I'm leaving this for right now. It's different from the one that I did before. Yeah, I like it. Finally, I like it. And then I feel like I could, let me save this. Thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you, Gotta Leave. What I think I could do now, actually, is behind everything, I could put a new layer with some of the gold on it, put the layer style on, and then maybe just take a different Renaissance brush and maybe just have some okay, what is this? This is brush 21. Just have like a little bit of gold kind of coming behind there. I don't know. But I kind of want it to be like super subtle. I'm not like, I don't know. I just need barely touches of gold somewhere, but behind everything. So it's like barely showing. That's looking pretty brocadey, but I kind of like it. That is interesting. Okay. Or I could, let me just duplicate that layer. Wait. I kind of like something like that. I might have to like mask out some of it so it's just very light touches. Ooh, this is 29. This is interesting, this brush. kind of like that, but I just would have to use barely, you know, so that's something to think about actually. Doing some touches like of a Renaissance brocade. Anyway, those are different options. I want to do like one more option. There's too many options. That's why like I definitely need what do you call it? Always needs like another eye sometimes. I always go back to the starry brush because I love adding like uh, just a little bit of gold somewhere. So many options. So many brushes, so little time. I need a good, I need to make some more kind of sparkly ones that are not like some glitter. This Rosé and Creativité is Rosé from my Rosé collection. Just kind of, that looks a little bit weird. Anyway, yeah, like I'm just curious of adding a little bit of gold in the background. That one I don't like. But yeah, I definitely need feedback sometimes. But I feel like it just needs touches of gold, you know, in this background like this. This one is kind of the maybe I'm liking a bit more with this Renaissance, adding that gold. Interesting. Or maybe I want to add like the glitch core brush. Or not, glitch core? Yeah. 5. Oh, that might be too much. Anyway, I will be curious to see what this is something too. I felt like it needs just some gold in the very back. That one's more gold in the background seems to me distract from the gold. Yeah, I feel like it's maybe it is just better just to leave it no gold, you know. And I'm wondering about taking off those little dotty ones because maybe they're not adding that much to it. I don't know. Let me know what you think about the dots because now they're not really being attached so much to a flower. You're not really seeing that they're on the tip of the flower like this one is. So that's interesting. Big splash of gold brocade in the middle of the flowers. I like the big splash. Thank you, Jasmine. I love your comments. Keeping me motivated. Yeah, so that's just some interesting things. But maybe we will just like that to almost have gold fibers, but I don't want too much. I'd have to like maybe take some down. Mask it out. I don't know. So yeah, I'm feeling like denim couture here. Dots more than the diagonal strokes. Okay, interesting. So maybe we could just, maybe I'll just add some dots throughout there, but maybe I will just leave it. That is not so bad, but I think maybe I can take the, yeah, I don't know. We will see, dudes. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and it's been an hour, so I'm going to, yeah, I can continue to play with this, but I will load this up, and if you guys want to remix it or do your version of it or anything, feel free. So, yeah, and as I'll attach those files. It'll take like an hour before the live stream processes. And then don't forget yesterday's live stream in case y'all missed it. Behance. Let me see if I can see without seeing my. I did it was inspired by Doja Cat and all that red on red, but I was playing with some glittery red texture, so that's kind of fun. So, and I have the stuff is already attached. I'm actually really proud that I'm keeping up on my attachments and kind of keeping everything like I'm trying as soon as I like not to get behind on my live stream attachments and everything like that. So, yeah, you guys have a good one. Have a good rest of your day. I'm gonna bounce off and go to bed. And thanks for everybody for your comments. It was really fun for me actually to like get the feedback and also have somebody go and maybe not. Maybe you're doing too much. So it's a lot of fun. Anyway, I definitely think tomorrow I will be online. Check my site for the thing, but it'll probably be in the same-ish time. And then also tomorrow I should be able to release it on my newsletter, a big freebie bundle of brushes for people that don't have all my brushes. I picked out my favorite ones, and so tomorrow's live stream I'll probably be sharing those brushes and kind of giving some ideas. So y'all have a good one, and I will catch you next time. Thank you so much.